Welcome. This is Suzanne.
Lauri, Susan, Roxie.
And
we are
Three Old Broads and a Lady.
So here we all are again. And today's topic is going to be words of wisdom. We have stuff that we learned way back in the day and things more current, but we thought we'd share them with you because maybe you have some of your own, or maybe we'll have something to surprise you. All right, so who'd like to start? I mean, there's some that are obviously real familiar to all of us.
Well, the most famous one, at least for every child in our day, I think, was do unto others as you would have others do unto you, which is
Translated from the King James.
Yeah.
yes,
Treat people the way you want to be treated.
yes.
Yes.
But I think it's a good way to live your life, is that because it shows that you have respect for other people, and then you expect respect from them. I think that one of the big problems in the world is that people expect your respect from them, and yet they haven't earned it from you, and they show you no respect whatsoever. They just want to dictate to you everything. I've had a couple of assistant principals that have been like that, where I, as a teacher, have sat there and listened to them like just, yell at me for something and then they expect me to just respect them, but they had never in any way shown any interest in my programs or any interest in what I was doing in my classroom, and yet they still thought that I should then listen to them yell at me.
I had a boss who told me that I would respect her. And my reply to her was, it's not in my job description.
Was that a job you held for a long time? Or?
Those are pretty good words of wisdom, too.
She ended up, I want to tell you the whole story. I'll tell you guys afterwards because she's the type of person that's litigious. And I don't want to get sued, but yeah, she ended up being kind of released. So.
Well, that's the thing is these assistant principals who will also remain anonymous it was never just me, that had that attitude. It was always like the whole school knew, and the whole school was like, when are we going to get, because in a school, who stays? The teachers basically stay. You have the teachers that stay there. The students come and go. The administrators come and go. So we would just sit and wait until that person was gone, and then we would continue and do our thing, no matter what they said. And and once they were gone, then we could continue on our way.
I don't know, Roxie, because you weren't in the school district. Was that kind of the same thing with you and your job when you had somebody that was really, really difficult? Did you just bide your time until you knew they would be gone?
Right. I think that fed right into the other old maxim that this too shall pass. You just think, well, he won't be here long. And you smile and say, yes, sir. But yeah. So.
Well, I wanted to share this right off the bat.
Yes, Lauri?
Yes. This has to do with a little gift I received years ago. And it's a little chain, and on the chain is kind of a dog tag, although it's the size of a dog tag. But it says on it has this nice little painting on it, and it says on it, "Today is a gift." And I love that, because today, every day, is a gift when you think about it. And so try to make it a good gift. Anyway, I never wore it because it wasn't kind of my thing to wear a dog tag, but and people coming up and saying, "Oh, what does this say?" But it is important to me because it hangs on a handle of in my kitchen. It's one of the upper cupboards, and it hangs down right in front of my coffee maker. Well, I make coffee every morning, and every morning there's this little thing that says, "Today is a gift." Remind, yourself that today is a gift. Thank you, Roxie, for giving me that gift.
I was going to say, that's a Christmas present I gave Lauri.
Yes, it was. And I look at it and think about it and have a good day every day.
Well, that makes me feel really good.
I'm glad.
So if today's a gift, then is tomorrow the day you return it?
Well, there have been issues that made me want to, but generally speaking, I just try to be positive, and that helps. Today's a gift, so make it good.
But I agree with you, Lauri. I think that the just having like an optimistic and positive attitude going through life. I see Suzanne over there grimacing. It automatically gives you a happy outlook. Mm-hmm. And if you can have a happy outlook, then your life feels more fulfilling to you, no matter what happens. And even when the bad things happen, if you can somehow find the good in it.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I have to segue in because that's years ago when I was working at one company. I was pretty snippy. And I guess I just had a bad attitude, so I always had this kind of negative spin on everything. And a lady came up to me and she said, you just really have a negative attitude. It's not fun to be around you. And I thought, what? Not fun to be around me? So, but I took it to heart, and I tried to kind of like clean up my act and not say every snarky thing that came into my head, but and sort of turn it around and try to be positive and uplifting. And years later, I'm at another company, and this guy he's sitting in his office, and I said, "Hey, what's going on?" He said, I have to drive down to Carlsbad tomorrow, which is, even if you're working in Rancho Cucamonga, you take the 15 for 100 miles, down to San Diego, to Carlsbad. And I said, oof, that's a long drive. I said, when do you have to be there? And he goes, I have to be there first thing in the morning. And I said, oh, well, at least you'll have to leave here pretty early so you'll miss most of the traffic. And he looks at me and he goes, you're one of those glass half full people, aren't you? And I said, okay, I'm going now. I was like,
well, knock me down and call me Pollyanna.
Really, it was very much that way. But I thought, well, I guess things have changed. I've obviously made a change.
Well, I actually was laughing when you were talking about this because I just posted an article on Facebook about how they were talking about to change your attitude from being snarky to being happy, because that's the only way that your whole life is going to be better, and it actually is healthier for you physically if you are not looking at everything in a negative point of view. Mm-hmm. The biggest problem is because of social media and the fact that people, because they're anonymous and there's just so much negativity and so much attacking in social media that everybody's angry all the time. It's actually a really good article. That's why I was laughing, because you guys started talking about this, and I thought I just posted some on Facebook.
Well, I was just reading an article about the oldest person in the world, who is currently, right now, named Ethel Caterham.
What was she before?
Caterham.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
She's 116 years old.
And she can call herself anything she wants.
That's right. And so they asked her, like, what, is the secret of your longevity? And one of the things that she said is, take everything in your stride, the highs and the lows. And so that's kind of the same idea of a positive attitude. Don't let it get you down. Don't let it stress you out. Because I think the stress is the biggest thing that really holds you back. And the more you can just let it all go and move on from whatever it is that's making you stressed or angry or frustrated or whatever, the more you can then make progress towards whatever the new thing is. She also said, never argue with anyone. She says, I listen and I do what I like. So you can listen to them and smile and then just go and do what you like.
And
Ignore them completely.
Yeah, that's right. But that's another, like, kind of a stress releaser, you know. It's like,
passive aggressive behavior.
well, I don't know if it's passive aggressive. You listen, you know, and maybe they talk you into it, or maybe it just goes, you know, and you say, and yet I know what I'm going to do instead. Mm-hmm. But thank you for your feedback.
Thank you for your input.
Yeah, well, so many things. I know we don't do politics here. We don't do politics here, people that are listening, because it's not nearly as important as friends and families and words of wisdom and things like that. But however, we were encouraged to. Okay, I know you're getting antsy about this. Don't worry about this. We were encouraged to put a quote from someone in that realm in our classroom. And I just went, I know what I'm going to do. You know, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. And that doesn't mean, that can mean anything, you know, but maybe it means, and because, you know, again, fifth graders, and then, well, what does that mean? And I said, well, you know, maybe it means you should pay more attention in math, so you can get a good job later. And, you know, we can get into the space program or something. And they go, oh, okay. And you know, I think that's a good thing. And a lot of, you know, so I put that up in my classroom, and people would come in and they, you know, because we'd have staff meetings in various classrooms, and it was always eventually it was your turn, you know. And they said, well, that's an interesting quote. And I went, oh, it's JFK. You know, what do you want? Anyway, but on the other hand, to make it even, he was a Democrat. So I have one from a Republican. And, you know, again, don't get antsy about this. Trust, but verify. And I really do believe in that one, too. And that was a Ronald Reagan quote. And I did put that one up in the class, but... yeah, trust but verify. You trust somebody until you can't trust them anymore after you've verified what they're, you know, you can't just say, well, I don't trust you. You have to check it out and then go from there. If you can't trust them, then you go back to square one and say, okay, now let's talk about it again. I like that quote too. So I managed to get on both sides of the aisle, if you will.
That quote could lead you down a really long political conversation.
Oh, no,
we're not going to do that.
Here we go. Why we don't do political conversations.
Except that. You know, those two can be, anybody said it.
It's kind of like a way that I try to live my life. I don't always do it, but is I always think, try to say yes. Say yes to everything until you have to say no to something. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's always going to be a forward movement. No is always a stopping type movement. You know, it's like we're going to stop this. We're not going to do this. Yes is we are going to go forward. So I always think it's best to try and say yes to everything you can. But if you have to, then you got to stop and say no to it. You know, if it's not going to be good for you, or it's not going to be good for the world, or whatever.
Yeah, that's that is a good thing too. It's kind of like a caveat or something.
I think the quote, the political quote that always it makes me pause and think, and it's sort of dictated the way I approach things, is that the buck stops here.
Oh yeah, great.
Take responsibility
Harry
for
Truman.
yourselves. Take responsibility for your actions, and don't. Well, it was his fault. It was her fault. It was their fault. I didn't have anything. I don't know what's going on. It's like no. The buck stops here. So when I do something, I always feel responsible to see it through if I possibly can.
Yeah, if you take
Not
the lead.
offload it on somebody else, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And also, sort of a tangent to that is, you've got to admit it if you're wrong too.
Yeah.
You know, I found that was one of the biggest things that would garner trust with students for me, is that if you made a mistake, you just admitted it. You know, and some people just can't they can't admit that they made a mistake, and that's to me that's such a sign of weakness in a person's character.
And a waste of time.
Yes, I mean, like,
Go ahead and say that you did something wrong, or that you didn't pay attention enough to make a good decision.
yeah,
Say, well, I'm really sorry about what I did with this because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Now I do, and I apologize for my actions. Okay, and then you move on.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's because it's such a waste of time to. Well, you did that, and and again, fifth graders. A lot of that going on in fifth grade.
I stopped going to El Pollo Loco for the simple reason that the manager there, I ordered a salad with chicken breast. There was no chicken. El Pollo Loco, no chicken in my salad. So
It's in their name, for heaven's sake.
We're out of chicken today.
well, I figured, okay, we're really, really busy. Mistakes happen. It's not that big of a deal. So I went back and I handed to him, I said, there's no chicken in my salad. And he looked at me and he goes, that's how you ordered it. And I looked at him and I said, Dan, why did I pay $1 extra for chicken breast? And he goes, he kept arguing with me. And I showed him on my phone my order with the chicken breast, the extra $1. He still kept arguing with me. And I told him, I'm not going to stand here and argue with you. And I'm never coming back here ever again. And then he tried to take everything off my salad. When he was ordering it, it in Spanish, and I understood what he was saying. I said, did you just tell her no cheese and no sour cream? He goes, yeah. And I said, did I tell you I wanted no cheese and no sour cream? I mean, come on. But why can't you make it? People make mistakes. It's who we are. Nobody is perfect. Why can't you just admit, we just made a mistake. We're sorry. We'll fix it for you.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
I had a problem long ago with customer service too. I'm not sure if this is really wisdom that I'm imparting, but you just reminded me of it, and I'm still mad about it. I haven't let it go, which I should, but I haven't. And that was one time, and I ordered, like a combo at a restaurant, and it said that it had French fry garni. Is what I think those were the words in the thing. So I was getting French fries with my thing. So I'm going, okay, that sounds good. So it comes to my to me at the table, and it has like 5 French fries, and everybody else has these piles of French fries on their plate, and mine has 5 French fries. So I call the guy over and I say, look, it only has. And he goes, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. And I go, why? And he says, well, it says French fry garni, and that means that we only put, And I said, there's 5 French fries on this plate. And he goes, that's the way it's supposed to be, And I'm going, okay, well, can I get a little few more French fries? No, that's the way it's supposed to be. And in my mind, I'm going, how's it going to hurt you to give me like 5 more French fries?
Exactly.
It's not that big a deal to me, but he's making this huge deal out of it. And I suppose he thinks I'm making a huge deal about it, but I'm looking around and I'm saying, look at all the other plates. They're filled with French fries, and I only get 5. Yes, that's the way it is.
But you see, that's such a weird thing, because all that stuff about, the customer's always right.
Yeah.
We went to a restaurant at Christmas time one year and ordered something that had the option was to have mushrooms on the top, And our stuff comes, and there's this lovely mushroom gravy, and Marcus, he didn't get it. Or he did, but it was like 3 little mushrooms on a little bit of gravy. And I said, oh, you didn't get very much. And he goes, no. And the waiter says, oh my gosh, no, let me fix that. And he went, and he came back with a huge gravy boat full of mushroom gravy.
That's right, he did, yeah.
And it was like, now that's customer service. That's
right.
There you go. That's
And
what
you
it
would
should
go
be.
back to that place, right?
Absolutely.
And I never went back to that place again, just like Suzanne didn't go to hers. Yes.
I not only did not go back to El Pollo Loco, but I wrote a letter to the local franchise, and I also wrote a letter to the corporate about what happened and the fact that I would never go back to El Pollo Loco again.
And did they close down?
Of course not. I'm one person.
Did you get an answer from them?
I
or
did not.
Oh,
So, they
geez.
obviously don't care,
See,
which
the
is
corporate
fine.
mentality then.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Is that the one next to Dunkin' Donuts?
Yes.
I know. I haven't gone there in 10 years
Oh my
because
gosh.
they never get my order right. I never do. And I get home and I think, so I said, well, can I have some extra salt? And they gave me guacamole, which I hate. So, I'm going, am I going to
guacamole?
Am I going to get back in the car and go all the way down there? No. So I said, okay, I'll give them another chance. They did something else wrong. I thought, well, at least it's a variety of things they did wrong. and then I went a third time, just say, well, third time's the charm. If they can make me happy, then okay. Nope. So I have not been there in at least a decade, and I didn't write a letter or anything, but I drive by there often. And I just go,
shake your
never
fist.
there again.
Yeah, well,
Curse you.
I don't write letters unless I am really upset. This guy was embarrassing me because it's right in the middle of lunch hour and he's arguing with me while all these
Well, that
people are
was
standing at the front. So yeah, I thought, no, that's it. I'm done. You're done.
Well, didn't he go to kind of like El Pollo Loco Academy and learn how to treat customers? Did he do that?
Apparently not.
I don't think they do that
Oh,
anymore.
they don't. Well, McDonald's
there's
does.
a lot of training that they don't do anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but we're going to get off topic.
Yeah, but I can tell you one last thing about the fries.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Who-
fries garni.
Who worked as a waiter or a wait? But everybody's a waiter.
I worked at Burger King.
Anybody? Was that? Did you take
No.
the order to the table?
No,
Well,
I
I
was the person on
I
the.
worked
at-
at Stupid Burgers. I mean, Super Burgers.
Oh, okay. I worked at Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor and Restaurant.
Ooh.
And
I think I saw you there once.
maybe. So I worked there for 3 years. So
Was it right out of high school?
yeah, pretty
Okay, I
much.
think
No,
I
the
saw
first
you
was
there.
the House of Pies, and then it was Farrell's because I wanted to check up on my boyfriend because he kept talking about this girl that worked there. And I thought, oh, okay, I'll fix you. And I went down and I filled out an application and got a job. And it's like somebody said, hey, you know what? Your girlfriend, she got a job here. I heard that's his reaction. Anyway, so the thing is, if you didn't come and pick up your fries, because you could order fries separately.
Uh-huh.
Would you like fries with that? And they told us to do that. And I'm going, somebody's ordering an ice cream something or other fabulous thing, and you're saying, do you want fries with that? I said, I'm never going to do that. But you could. People would order fries. So if you didn't pick them up fast enough, they came on kind of a small plate, but big pile of fries. And if you didn't come and get them right away, everybody ate them. In the back bar. He said, oh, let's have a couple fries, I'm here for my order. And
That's what happened to my fries.
I was probably sitting out front or something and everybody ate the fries.
Oh my gosh.
So keep that keep that in mind.
Well, that's that reminds me when I did work at Burger King. I was the person who was taking the orders over the microphone for the drive-through and everything, and or the people that came up to the counter, and they always expected us to do what they called suggestive selling, which was would you like some fries with that? But they had a little a script that you were supposed to say. You were supposed to say, would you like some golden fries with that? They're the best in town. And I just couldn't say that. Every once in a while, I'd come out with would you like some fries with that? But certainly not. Would you like some crispy golden fries with that?
I never had to do that.
And then there was a shopper that came by one time
boy.
and dinged me, and so then the manager came up and said, "You're one of my best ones, but you got dinged on this. Didn't you say this?" And I said, "No, I just can't say it."
Yeah, it doesn't
He went,
come out right.
Okay. He didn't care, but
Yeah.
Oh man.
No.
Gosh, all these stories. I'm so relieved that I never worked food service. Well, I take that back. I did work in the Sears hot dog thing when they had their big parking lot sale, and they bring out this car with this steaming water with the oil slick on the top, because you just dropped the hot dogs in until they got warm, and then you pulled them out and sold them. It was like, oh, my husband used to love those those hot dogs. It was like, oh God.
I'm surprised more people didn't get food poisoning from those things.
Big bowl of salmonella right there.
Well,
It's the best in town.
It was. Well, it was only a nickel, so what the heck did you have to lose?
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but my dad especially always had some words of wisdom for the family. And some of them were like really profound, and some of them, the ones that stay with us, that we still quote from still to this very day. One of his was, my dad was kind of a gaseous sort of a guy, and so we'd sit at the table, and he'd like come out with a big old burp and stuff like that, and then we'd all go, "Oh, Dad," and he'd go, "It's better to burp and bear the pain than it is not to burp and bear I just said it wrong. It's better to burp and bear the shame than it is not to burp and bear the pain." And he would say that every time he came out with a big belch. And so now our family still says that.
Words of wisdom from Dad.
Words of wisdom from Dad. Always to be remembered.
Yeah, words of wisdom from my dad were not his own, I'm pretty sure, and they were, if you don't stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about.
I don't know how wise that was, but
No, but my mother used to say that, so I don't think they knew each other. So
I know that was not an original.
Yeah. Or I brought you into this world, I can take you out.
Yeah.
Yes.
oh, well, my dad, football dad. He if you complain and say, "I'm gonna give up on this, I just can't do this," and he'd say, "Well, stay in there and fight," he'd say, which is, I'm sure, what the coach would always say. Mm-hmm. And I believe that. And I also sometimes like, stay in there and fight and just get it done, get to it, and that sort of thing.
Don't let it discourage you.
And
That's
there you go. And so there's that. But on the other hand, there's a quote in a movie. As you all know, I've seen a lot of movies.
Yes.
And one of them is, well, sometimes you just got to know when to turn Mother's picture to the wall and get out. So that's the opposite of it. That's the opposite of it.
I like that.
Oh, yeah, that was Brad Dexter in The Magnificent Seven.
Is walk it off the same thing? Because my dad used to tell us that all the time.
Yeah,
Walk it off. I guess stay in there and fight, or walk it off, I guess.
No, walk it off is after you've been brutally hit by something.
This finger, I fractured this finger playing softball and played the rest of the game.
Right.
Because in the back of my head, my dad was going, walk it off.
Walk it off. Yeah. That's a sports analogy that you carry with you.
Yeah, well, I've always had that sort of philosophy too. I remember distinctly trying to come up with a funny way to roll off the couch in Rumors, because cooking Zach is supposed to. She has a bad back, so she's supposed to roll off the couch and crawl across the stage. And nothing was ever funny, and I tried all kinds of different ways, and what can I do, and how do I do this, and this is like Hell Week, Tuesday, we're opening Friday. And so I was trying different things, and my hands went down at one point to, kind of start crawling before I was off the couch or whatever I was doing. It was never funny. And one time I tried it, and I felt this little like that. And I thought, that doesn't feel too good. I shook it. Ow, that hurts. So what I did was this. I said, well, how can I do this without hurting my hand? Because I thought, we're going to open. What if I go to the doctor? So I put my hands like this and went 1, 2, 3,
them?
rolled. Crossed my hands. Hey, everybody, look. Anyway, and I rolled off the couch like 1, 2, 3, and I rolled over and I started crawling, and I made sure that I didn't touch here, and I managed to get through that. Michael was in hysterics. He thought it was,
that was funny. We were all
he just thought that was the funniest thing he'd ever seen. And he says, yeah, keep doing that. And I thought, I'm going to have to. Well, anyway, then years later, I forgot about it, because 3 weeks of the show, I forgot about this thing, and just to finish this last thing, I hurt my hand doing something else. Went down and had an X-ray, and they said, "Well, your hand is fine, but what's this little tiny fracture over here?" And she says, because this was years later, and she says to me, she says, "You know how this happened?" And I went, "No, yes," and I remembered that because it healed itself, but yeah. So you're right. Walk it off, shake it off, whatever it is. Taylor Swift.
Well, so we have, I don't know, like 8,000 lines here of words of wisdom.
Should we have part 2?
That we never got to because we talked about food in restaurants.
And our bosses.
Our bosses. So, I don't know if we should do a second one, but we're not going to tell you anyway.
We'll decide.
The alarm went off. You probably didn't hear it because Lauri
was talking.
So we're done. So join us next time because this is Suzanne,
Lauri,
Suzanne,
Roxie.
and we are 3 old broads and a lady. We got it right that time.